Wanted to make sure we got you guys all an update on that port strike. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Interesting development. The port strike has ended for now as the workers have agreed to a tentative deal on wages and contract extensions. So let me explain because it is kind of complicated. Basically, the two sides have extended their existing contract through January 15th to provide time to negotiate a new contract as opposed to a strike that would completely close the East Coast and the Gulf Coast ports after the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance have agreed to that tentative deal. So I don't think it takes a genius to see that January 15th is when? Oh, right, after Election Day. It's also 5 days before Inauguration Day. Okay, got it. So clearly there was some major political pressure that was put down on the longshoremen. There were a lot of takes about how either they were betraying Biden or about how they were in collusion with Trump, when in reality, it looks like they were in it for themselves to try and get a raise, which is AKA their job as a union, what they were trying to do. But all of the doom and gloom, Krystal, has officially been allayed until January 15th, whenever it appears that some sort of deal will be negotiated. So I think, if anything, what this does most damage to is all the take economy that was out there. There were so many.
The take economy took a hit.
There were so many takes.
I don't know if you guys saw it. There were a lot of liberal conspiracies about how the head of the Longshoremen Union is buddies with Trump.
Like a pro-Trump
And so this was seen as some attempt to screw over Kamala Harris specifically. I was always skeptical of this because also the longshoremen, they endorsed Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I know.
So they, are officially behind her. But in addition, it's worth noting, so in this temporary agreement, they've already secured a significant wage increase. Their wages are going to rise 61.5% over 6 years under this tentative agreement. The piece that seems like it still really needs to be worked out, which is a very critical one, is about automation, because a lot of the longshoremen's jobs are being automated out of existence. I think it's one of the primary areas of automation innovation. So that remains to be worked out. I also think you have to give the Biden administration a lot of credit for how they handled this. Joe Biden himself was quite clear, coming down in multiple statements on the side of the workers. There was a push from Republicans in Congress in particular to get him to invoke Taft-Hartley to block any sort of strike activity and first force these workers back to work. He said absolutely not. You had Mayor Pete, working behind the scenes, but also most critically, Biden administration acting labor secretary Julie Su, the Longshoremen's Union, thanked her directly for her work on their behalf to try to secure this tentative agreement. So in any case, this had a potential to be an absolute sort of catastrophe and nightmare. We played for you some of the quite striking and quite militant, in a way that I appreciate, comments from the head of this union saying, listen, we will cripple you. And he's not wrong. So much of our commerce depends on these ports working effectively, working efficiently. We saw what happened in COVID when you had the ports screwed up and the backlog and all of the rippling effects that it took years to overcome from that. So it's good news, in my opinion, for everyone that they were able to secure this tentative agreement. They're able to get these wage hikes, and let's hope that they also are able to secure a good deal when it comes to automation.
Yeah, it highlights some interesting union politics around them because, like I said, it was clear that there was a significant, especially elite and Democratic backlash against them when it looked like they were going to strike. With a lot of those calls, Biden's call notwithstanding, a lot of the commentary being like they're deliberately trying to destroy Biden. On the flip side of that, in some insight into union politics, let's put this up there on the screen. The International Association of Firefighters on Thursday said it would not make a presidential endorsement in what was, quote, viewed as a blow to Kamala Harris's campaign. The union, which represents 300,000 career firefighters, determined, quote, by a margin of 1.2%, slim margin, obviously, against picking a candidate. The reason why I think this is so significant, Chris, I'm not sure if you remember this. We interviewed the president of the International Association of Firefighters the day that Joe Biden came out with his candidacy, and it was because he was the first union to come out and to endorse Joe Biden. They loved Biden. They did. We're the very first union to come out and to back him. Previously, earlier this year, I think J.D. Vance visited the Firefighters Union conference. I think it was in Boston.
Yeah, and he got booed.
Okay, well, they didn't endorse Kamala, so maybe it worked out for him. So I think there's a lot going on here.
There is a lot going on here. I mean, from a policy perspective, it obviously makes zero sense that you would endorse Joe Biden and not endorse Kamala Harris when they have literally the exact same policy when it comes to unions. And Kamala Harris has been very consistent pro-union throughout her career. So, if you look at, certainly looking at her time in the Senate, looking at her, being part of the Biden-Harris administration, this is the most pro-union, not that they were perfect, they were not perfect, especially when it came to the railway strike. This is definitely the most pro-union administration that we have had in our lifetime in the modern era. And so to be willing to endorse Joe Biden but not Kamala Harris, it's just about basically vibes and their sense that their membership has less affinity for her, likes her less than they liked Joe Biden. And it also is a blow to this, political theory that I would like to believe was a reality of quote unquote deliverism, where if you deliver for a constituency in terms of their direct interests, that you are going to benefit from that. And, again, this was a very pro-union administration. Trump was very anti-union in his administration, was unwilling to move forward on things like the PRO Act, and yet they still can't figure out who to endorse in this race. So there you go.
Well, look,
doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's up to the membership, and that's why I'm saying, it's obvious now that the dividing. I agree with you. Deliverism, I'd like for it to be a thing, but it's not. It's clear that we are ruled mostly by culture, and with these, you actually had, I believe, Tim Walz spoke at that event as well. But both of the candidates courting them, specifically on the Republican side, I do think it's kind of vindicating, for inviting Sean O'Brien, who ended up not endorsing anybody in the presidential race, and for JD going to the Firefighters Union where Joe Biden was there. Sure, a couple people in the back may have booed him, but them not coming out and endorsing Harris, that's a big deal. And especially with two of those major unions now not entering the fray, that is a major change in union politics. Those are two of the, 300,000 people is huge. Obviously, police unions have been pro-Republican now for a decade or so.
Yeah,
but when you combine,
special situation,
right, it's complicated. So it's like police unions on the right, teachers unions, and most of the other unions on the left. But this whole new just not endorsing does show you that it's the membership itself which is trending in a very different direction. And it fits with that CNN clip that we did in our last show about the historic rise in some of the working class support for Donald Trump, and specifically about where the issues of disagreement are. Almost certainly, if you were to survey these people, immigration is going to be the #1 reason that a lot of them are pro-Trump, just to show what the dividing line is between those people. And also, in terms of how they view what they can get in the future, because the theory I've seen too is, yeah, look, Trump 1.0 wasn't great for unions. But this time around, by not endorsing, which Trump sees as a victory, right, especially for Teamsters and for firefighters here, they think that maybe they can curry favor with him. And perhaps it's a signal that they think that Trump may be the person who's in the White House next time around, and that they can get something out of him next time, especially if you spoke at the RNC or not endorsing Biden when you were the first union to do so. Obviously, it's a risky theory, but
I would just say good luck with that, because if you think that the second administration, this is a lifelong union buster. He's still going on with Elon Musk and joking about how cool it was for him to fire striking workers. He's still going on and on about how he would do anything to get out of paying overtime to workers. That's who he is. To the extent that he has any core ideological commitments, this has been a pretty consistent one. So, if you think that you not endorsing is going to lead you to getting some favoritism under his administration, just good luck with that.
Maybe they're right. I don't know. I still think that things could change in the second time around, but perhaps I'm too much of an optimist. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.